I was initially disappointed with Animal Well. Don't get me wrong, even on my first playthrough I loved its aesthetics. The contrast between its dark environments and its neon palette exudes horror and beauty. Despite its pixels, the game's dynamic physics, lighting, volumetric effects, and ray-traced reflections rid the illusion of Animal Well being a retro game. See the way the game flows, and you know it's a contemporary piece. Spot a frame in the wild, and you know it's Animal Well. I also loved its non-linear design, an aspect that already stands out for the majority of Metroidvanias. It's not only fun to explore the world, but fun to explore the game's mechanics, especially by accident. I loved playing the game so much that it came with great dread to see the end so soon, that after a mere 6 hours of playing the game, I was already done. After all the hype, the praise, the time, it was over in a one-night stand? I mean, yeah, I didn't want the game to be bloated, but I would have liked more time. I knew there was the post-game, but I assumed that since the base game was so short, the rest wouldn't be much. I just spent 25 hours on Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and spent days with other games Animal Well is being compared to. I also spent around $22, but I tried to spin that into a positive light. I was supporting the passion project of a sole developer, Billy Basso, and rewarding his incredible talent and vision. I was also supporting a person that made me cry more than my dad could helping me with homework. Cry tears of laughter throughout the years, even now. Still, the lengths bothered me, and the most disappointing part was that it was nothing like Halo 2 and 3. The next day I played more, and those 6 hours swiftly became 12, then 20, then beyond. I was still playing Animal Well even with my Switch off. I quickly realized that the first game was as deep as this. Meanwhile, the rest of the game was like this. Divided by 0. Billy must be working for the CIA as some kind of recruiter because this is some cicada level conspiracy. This is a 3 body problem level game, like we'll be communing with aliens within a month. Damn my desire, damn my wit, damn my excitement. I should have been happy with those 6 hours. It's a Stockholm Syndrome simulator. I'm trapped within the depths of Animal Well, and I love it. Before you even start the game, there's already something worth praising: its size. The game is incredibly small, sitting around 34 millibytes. A video of a 5-minute speedrun of the game is bigger than the original source. Even the PS5 banner on the home screen is bigger than the whole game. That is insane. That's like an echo being louder, or a shadow being brighter. The size stems from Billy building the game up entirely from scratch and using low-resolution assets. And despite its size, it holds an immense set of layers. This was the game I was disappointed with before I knew how much of a blessing its brevity and scope was. The objective is to find the 4 flames marked on the map. You can do so in any order and you'll receive items that can help along the way. Already you can be impressed with the aesthetics and the atmosphere of the game. But evidently, I didn't spend much time to smell the roses. I focused on the puzzles and the hunt. The first layer is a sweet and short experience that I'm sure others will be satisfied with. It has a great ending, with a rush as exhilarating as the ending of Halo 3. Oh wait, but after the sparks settle, you might be disappointed by how abrupt it was, like the ending of Halo 2. If the first course was not enough and you're still hungry for more, then I hope you have an appetite for eggs. There are 64 eggs reasonably hidden within the game. You can rely entirely on cues from the environment, though it takes much scrutiny. This layer is similar to going for 100% in other games like Super Mario. But not everyone will enjoy the hunt, since there is much backtracking and puzzle solving. The post-game will lead you to more rooms and even more items. But each new item I found was met by a groan, as they didn't lead to solutions, just more questions. Their existence implied more ways for chests to be hidden. I certainly found more mileage from this phase of the game. It easily added another 6 hours. On my own, I found all except for 5 eggs and used a guide to expedite the last legs of the search. I highly recommend finding as many eggs on your own. The hunt leads to another ending and makes a fine stopping point for those that just wanted a bit more. But I just had to be so clever enough to fix a mistake and become thrilled by the next discovery. Soon that thrill became terror as I progressed into the next phase of the hunt. Yeah, so I used a guide at this phase because, you have to. This is where the puzzles become unreasonable and require external resources to complete. You might have seen this puzzle make the rounds. It turns out that everyone has a different 4x4 tile hidden within their game. For example, here's mine, and then here's another from the IGN article. There are 50 different tiles in total, which means this single puzzle requires the collaboration of at least 50 people. All of this just to find one out of the 16 bunnies. Look at this. This is a puzzle for a game. No other game does this. I don't even own a printer. I went to the library. Do you see how absurd this is? Thankfully, not every puzzle is solved outside the game, but you still have to think outside the box. Every detail matters, and what was previously thought as a cheeky little secret becomes essential. That technique or exploit you think you found? No, that's required now. Touchscreen support might be so necessary that it prevents an Xbox release. That and the fear that Microsoft might somehow close Billy's one-man studio. And as ludicrous as these puzzles were, they actually did force me to just stop and truly smell the roses. Sure, I might find a secret, or I can just vibe with the game. Shame I wasn't part of the initial search party on Discord, but I did as much as I could on my own. Of course, this is just a stepping stone to more complex puzzles in this maddening descent. I haven't completed this part, and I'm not sure if I ever will. I've glimpsed at what's to be done, and it's incredibly daunting. It's seriously impressive the ingenuity it takes to solve puzzles like these, and to create them in the first place. This fervor over every detail led to the haste discovery of what seems to be the ultimate secret. A secret that Billy Bassel himself never thought anyone would ever find. These were puzzles that were not meant to be solved, and yet the community has done so in less than a week. The collective consciousness is not to be underestimated. We could have used this fervor to find a Zodiac killer. Even after an incredible discovery like that, there are still many secrets left, such as the figurines, the lullabies, this room, and more. The community is still going mad, counting every flower, lamp, worm, whatever. Animal Well is a truly unique game at every caliber. From its visuals, atmosphere, mechanics, design, and mysteries, there is no game like it. And its complex secrets can be its largest appeal, but they can seem less special when they've already been found by so many others. There's no fun in inputting a random code found from a guide online. It's the difference between looking at the Mona Lisa and visiting the Mona Lisa. The difference between learning algebra and discovering algebra. Save the exploration for yourself, even if you're retreading what others found long ago. Even if you aren't part of the initial hunt, you can start your own or join another. Regardless, there is still much to appreciate just from the first and second layer. I went from being disappointed with the game to being disappointed with myself. I should have appreciated the game at the surface level and be satisfied by the simple things. But my desire has led me to the point of no return, entrenched with a maddening obsession. And being trapped cannot be any more fun. It's like making home in an escape room. I know I won't stay in the well forever, so I'll enjoy this madness while I still can, while marveling all that I have done before. There is one more cryptic aspect of the game to discuss, its lore. Although talking about the lore is tricky. It is vague, but I'll have to spoil major elements of the game to properly talk about them. This section of the video is reserved for those who have seen the true depths of the game for themselves. Admittedly, the story is not as deep and intricate as the puzzles, so I don't expect anything like Elden Ring levels of detailed lore. After all, this is all made by one man, who's already put so much work to create this multi-layered puzzle box. So what's left are probably some vague musings, but that's where the fun is. We get to fill in the blanks, no matter how dense the lore actually is. Or maybe it really is just as complex as the puzzles and Billy has doubled down. I do believe he has an idea for the story. There is very much an intent behind the items you receive in the game. These are not entirely random objects, they're toys, and things one would play with in their youth. Probably things that relate to Billy's own childhood. Maybe he fell into a well as a kid and instead of becoming Batman, he became the Riddler. I mean, Billy Basso is already such a comic book name. Perhaps the game is a metaphor about childhood, a coming-of-age story. The imagination of a child exploring the beauty and the horror of the world. Some more concrete clues for the lore lie within these murals. Depicted here is a bunny being hunted by a smug-looking lynx. Lynx in mythologies are known for having eyesight so keen they're able to peer through objects and time itself. In Native American folklore, they're known as the keeper of secrets. We see a live lynx in the game with a bunch of cats you've rescued, so they do seem related. Another mural depicts the manticore hatching from an egg surrounded by what I initially assumed were dogs, but the majority believe are mice. In Persian mythology, manticores are hybrid beasts with the face of a man, the body of a lion, and the tail of a scorpion. Its name quite literally means man-eater, and they're known for leaving no trace of whatever they feed on, not even bones. One thing that relates to both mice and manticores are elephants. Elephants are immune to the poison darts of a manticore, and there's a well-known myth that elephants are afraid of mice. I'm not aware of any elephants in the game, but there might be a secret related if found. Another mural depicts the manticore with a blob that resembles the player heading towards the home of the bunnies. This drawing resembles the endgame, where the player can ride the manticore into a place filled with bunnies. This place might be the moon, as suggested by the gravity and the space-like background. And there is a mythological basis for the rabbit and the moon. The dark spots on the moon resembles a rabbit working on a mortar. In Chinese mythology, it is said that the jade hair mixes the elixir of life on the moon. And hey, here's a mural depicting just that. You could also find these elixirs that provide extra life. And then here's Kilroy, a pre-internet World War II meme. Is this a cheeky contribution by Billy to one of the longest running memes? Or does this actually suggest that a World War II Allied soldier somehow ended up in the well? Perhaps not every drawing pertains to the lore. There's also the mystery of the well itself. Who or what made it? What is it for? What is it even shaped like? I initially thought it was a cylinder because of the way the map warps around. But then you see a torus in the game and realize the well also loops vertically, so it might be shaped like a donut or a halo. And then there's us, this blob thing. What are we? We sprout out of buds with the intent to release the flames. Then we release the manticore, then the bunnies, and then find them all on the moon. We also might have a home here next to the torus, which might be the animal well itself. There's just too much for me to piece together. I'm not Vatividya, I'm just sharing my theories. I can't provide a definitive story, but not even Vati claims to do that. But there is one thing. One major discovery I've made about this blob that no one else seems to realize. I'm about to spoil something big, like one of the biggest reveals of all time. Like it's more shocking than Luke being Darth Vader's father, it's that big. Alright, ready? It turns out that you're actually just a big piece of shit.